Hey, this is A.K Moss. Say today I'd like to go ahead and do poetry on the road. And the poem I choose today is a poem about a song that was written by Ian Tyson, the late Ian Tyson, and Tom Russell. Most of you know it, Navajo Rug. And I really wanted to. I always wondered what happened to Katie in that particular song, and ended up writing this poem and had the opportunity to get a hold of Ian and kind of get his permission to write it. So this is called KT Diner. I hope you enjoy. Aye, Katie, shades of red and blue. Aye, Katie, whatever became of the Navajo Rug and you? Now I stopped in at the KT Diner as a blizzard blew through town. I'd watched the trucks line dance as the interstate shut down. Wrapped my hands around a hot mug on that cold winter night. Wrapped my hands around a hot mug as old man winter blew. Lone truckers hunkered down, for they had lost their mystic mountain view. When a lone cowboy saunters in, he sat right next to me. Two lone strangers just wanting a little company, which started a conversation as we drank a cup or two. Said he'd been traveling alone and just passing through, and that he'd never married, no kids to take his name. He had lived a life of freedom. Now Lonesome was his name. Then he paused for a moment as his heart gave a tug, when his eyes fell upon an old wore-out Navajo rug. It was a double-woven rug with shades of red and blue, with mystic turtle doves that came flying into view. It was singed and tattered, worn through the years. His eyes kinda got misty as he blinked back the tears and fought the melancholy that filled him to the core. The memory of a Navajo rug and a diner's wooden floor. Said he'd only loved one woman in his lonesome life. If I'd been smart, he said, I would have took Miss Katie for my wife. His eyes filled up with memories of a distant love affair, of youth and mischief and all the passion there. And he pulled himself together as he said with a shrug, Ah, Katie, that diner, that damned old Navajo rug. Well, a waiter came by the table to pour another round. Said, I've been listening to your stories as he set the coffee down. You mind if I sit and listen to your sad tales of woe? He looked out at the blizzard and said, There's no place else to go. So he sat and he listened as the cold night settled in, of mischief and young love and all that could have been. The cowboy looked at the rug hanging on the wall. That rug sure reminds me of Miss Katie in the fall. You know, I went back to get her, but that diner had burnt down. No one knew where she had went, and I had searched all through town, but I guess that's the way it goes, he said with a sigh. Maybe I wasn't what she needed for her to say goodbye. Then he looked over at the waiter. So what's your tales of woe? What places have you been, and where you want to go? Well, the waiter was quiet a moment. His hands began to shake. Well, sir, I never knew my father. And his voice began to break. And my ma, she loved one man, and the proof, well, that is me. She kept a picture in that rug, and she bought this diner that you see from the tips she had earned from a diner that had burnt down long ago. An unwed mother, a small town. Well, you know how rumors go. It's been almost a year ago since my mama's death, and I had promised to keep this place after her last breath. It ain't much, but it was hers, and don't you know, she loved it almost as much as that rug made from the Navajo. Then the waiter reached in his pocket. The cowboy did the same. They both pulled out a picture and they both whispered her name. From tattered photos, they both showed two lovers in a hug, standing in front of a diner with that damned old Navajo rug. You know, I'd stopped at the KT diner as a blizzard blew through town. I'd watched the trucks line dance as the interstate shut down. I wrapped my hands around a hot mug on that cold winter night, watched a miracle from Katy in that dim diner light. For when that cowboy looked into that young man's eyes, as if on cue, well, he saw Katy staring right back at him in a sun he never knew. Hey, this is A.K Moss. Thanks for listening. Take care. God bless. See you down the road.